Sondra Samuels. Let's give her a round of applause. I hate bios. Okay, it's like, oh no, stop. But thank you. Hey, everybody, I'm out of my neighborhood. You know, I'm Jordan. But I was allowed into this wonderful neighborhood of Hawthorne. So thank you so much, and congratulations on the foundations from around the country that have convened here in Minneapolis. And they took a tour of North Minneapolis, and I was the host of that tour along with Mayor R.T. Ryback, who loves the North Side. And these were significant players, again, in the funding community who have lots of money. And guess where the first place we came really and parked the big, huge, gargantuan bus? Guess where the first place was? It was Eco Village. And it was a place that the mayor wanted to stop, that I wanted to stop, but it was right here in Hawthorne. Not my neighborhood, but yours. To talk about what you, the neighbors, had done. Along with the city, along with Home Depot, along with each other, to bring about what we see in Eco Village and we see happening all around Hawthorne. So if you could please give yourselves a round of applause, because you're an inspiration to us all. And President Jimmy Carter is coming here for a reason. And so I just want to applaud you and let you know that everybody on the North Side is looking at you. And so thank you so much. And this is a wonderful group of black folks and white folks and Asian folks and all kinds of folks and straight, gay, and politicians and not. We got Senator Linda Higgins in the back. Hello, Senator. And we have Councilmember Hofstad. Diane was here. Diane still over here. Diane, hello. And we have a noted pastor. Pastor, if you would please stand. I don't know if there are any other pastors in the house. Sir, thank you. Hello. And did I miss anybody? If I did, okay, so you let me know. And but anyway, so today I was asked to talk about kind of what it means to be community and to serve on board and to really be part of transformation. And I thought this was perfect because, you know, in my community, I served on the board. I was in the Jordan Area Community Council for a couple of years. And I got to tell you, I was a horrible board member. And not something that I'm proud of. In fact, I had to go to other board members years later and apologize to them for not taking my role as seriously as I should have. So I talked from a very vulnerable position of knowing what not to do as a board member, which really transformed me and my neighbors who were around me in terms of, now there were some things that I certainly did, but there was a lot more that I could have done. And I want to talk about that tonight in the spirit of, you know, the thing I know about you guys, there are some people who, Minneapolis is incredible, right? I mean, in North Minneapolis, I wouldn't want to live anyplace else but here. And we have incredible housing stock. We can look out of our window to downtown, to the skyline. I have neighbors who, we have no fantasy about whether we meet each other. We meet each other, okay, across racial class, across economic lines. And it means so much to me. And so I want to talk today about what it really means to live here and be here, and for you all to be here, because this is so wonderful. You know, we do have a portion of community that lives here because it just was affordable, right? You know, we have some neighbors who they got an incredible house. Like if that house was someplace else, it'd be $1 million. Or $500,000, but they got it for $200,000 because it was in North Minneapolis, right? You know that happened. Well, I know that's not you here. And even if it is a couple of you here, like you got some really slamming houses, like Lisa, but Lisa didn't work on that house. But anyway, but even if you have slamming houses, you're here because you care. People who just move in because they already moved into this wonderful house, which Anderson, Lisa fixed up because they believed in the community. When Anderson, and Lisa, can you wave your hand, please? Like you just don't care. Wave it in the air like you just don't care. But when Anderson and Lisa moved into the neighborhood, many of us were shocked when we saw the house they were moving into and the street they were moving on with their small children. But they believed in this community, and they believed in our neighbors, and they transform that home, and they're holding it down on their block. How many of you are holding it down on your block? Like, you just know that you have a purpose for being there. You know, absolutely. But anyway, I know you're here because you care and because you make a difference every day in the community. But a couple of things. One is around showing up, right? Have you heard the saying that the people who rule the world are those who show up? It's true. It's true in our politics, and it's certainly true in our neighborhood organizations. The people who show up are the people whose voices are heard, are the people who set the agenda, are the people who change things in communities. And so you, by simply showing up, are taking a significant, being here tonight, you're taking a significant leadership stand. And I want to thank you for that. And that was the thing. When I was on the board, I would come to the board meeting sometimes, then sometimes I wouldn't. And what I realized was that consistency was important. And I know sometimes, have you ever done that here at Hawthorne, been so desperate to get board members that you just say, just come on, sign on the dotted line, please. Has anybody done that besides us and Jordan? Okay, yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you're laughing, right? But to be able to, at the same time, tell community members, this is about our livelihood. It's about us taking and putting neighbor back in the hood. This is about our children. And you'll have fun too, working with neighbors. So it is about showing up. And I realize that. And like I said, had to apologize for some of my fellow board members in Jack who had held it down. But I did it now. And so as you recruit other board members, let them know that it's going to be fun. I mean, don't make them think that it's going to be like a ball and chain and a terrible experience. We'll never have anybody on the board. But you do have to stress the importance of being in your seat. And I know you can't always, but more times than not. And then, there's another thing. Anybody ever read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey? There is a story, a true story in there that I really like, but I think that for us, in terms of what it means to be a community member, a board member, it's really important, especially as we build community across race and class, and really do America's work. Everybody, I don't know if you know, but America, really, when we think about our country, when you really get warm and fuzzies around, and you think of the history of America is happening in the inner cities around this country. This is where it happens. America is not when you can go hide out in a community where everybody looks like you and talks like you and has the same values. It's not. I mean, that's cool. I don't blame anybody for that. I grew up in a portion of my life like that. And that's okay, too. But this is where we're doing the real work. Across all of our differences. A salad bowl, a melting pot, however you want to think about it, that goes on right here. But Covey told a story of a guy, and so for those of you who know the punchline, don't give it, but for those of you who don't, and it's a real story, and think about yourself, because I know I've been this guy on the train, but it was a guy on the busy subway. He could have been on the light rail going to the airport. Anybody done that before? Okay, so light rail or on the bus or whatever, but he was on the subway in New York, and was tired from a day of work. And there were some unruly kids who were just going off. And they were on the chairs, and they were jumping up and down. It's like, what's up? Why do they even have their feet on the seats? And they were loud, and they were obnoxious, and everybody's disturbed. And everybody's looking over at the father. Clearly this man with them looked like their father. And everybody looked over at the father like, what is up? Why doesn't he say something? Have you ever had that experience? Why don't they do something with their children, okay? And so finally, nobody said anything to the guy. The kids are just going crazy. And they're knocking people's papers, just everything. And finally, the guy can't take it anymore. And he jumps up and he says, Mister, please, would you please get control of your damn kids? And the guy looked kind of despondent. And he kind of snapped out of it and said, wow. Whew, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware. I hadn't noticed. And the guy's like, what do you mean you hadn't noticed? And he said, well, we just left the hospital. and their mother died. And I guess I don't know what to do. In that moment, for the passenger who was so judgmental, he realized that he judged the situation without knowing the situation of the man or the children whom he was judging. And for us in this community, what I would suggest to you is when you look at the most unruly children, when you look at the neighbors that you wanted out yesterday. And I'm not saying that they still shouldn't be out, so don't get me wrong. But what I do want you to know is that if you were them and you had had their life experiences, you would be doing the same thing. And a lot of us try to act like we wouldn't, but we would. And we're not. But I know for many of us, to be able to hold any kind of compassion, you know, you can compassionately tell somebody they have to go. You know that? Like, you know, you bear with neighbors, you bear with situations, you call the police about the drug dealing, you call the police about the drug dealing. How many of you know I live here? All right? And you can even, in the way you say to the landlord and to the tenant, you know, we've worked with you, we've talked to you, and if you don't want to kind of live in the way that we want to see our community for not just our children, but your children too, then this isn't the block for you. This isn't the neighborhood for you. We might not say that directly, but we do say it in our activism. There's even a way to do that with compassion, where we're not making our neighbors, and they are our neighbors, into be the other. And so if we can remember that, that would be wonderful. And